Hey everybody, my name's Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. So last week I posted a video on spiritual burnout and the spiritual burnout that I have been going through for the past several months. The fact that I have not done a quiet time. I haven't opened my Bible to study or even just to read, light reading. And I also haven't really been praying. So a couple things. There was some fantastic comments from a couple of ladies, and it really helped me because they had been Christians much longer than I have, even though I have been a Christian for quite some time. But they have gone through this too. So spiritual burnout is not something that people really talk about. And I actually was talking about it with somebody at work. And, you know, we got to talking about the fact that it comes down to a matter of pride, that we don't ever admit that we are struggling with our walk with the Lord, that we're not in our word that like we need to be. And it, you know, it seems like we just want to keep this appearance of, you know, that we're okay and that we have it together. And it's okay to not be that way. It's okay to talk about it. And then I had one of my friends text me, and she was like, thank you so much for that video, because she is walking the same path. So anyway, this is a week later. So this video is Overcoming Spiritual Burnout week 1. So this is everything I have done this past week, that I am trying to take it slow, like I said I was going to do, and I'm going to show you what I've kind of worked on this week and go from there. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I don't know where you're at in your walk with the Lord. I don't know if you're experiencing spiritual burnout or not. You're not alone, trust me. So here we go. I said that I was going to read a children's Bible and just pick it up and read it. So this is the one I used. It is my first read aloud Bible, and it's old, so it's coming apart. This was actually my son's when he was a baby, and he's now 13. So that tells you how old it is. So just to let you know, these are very simple, basic. You have the scripture reference, but it is literally like a story. Very small, very simplistic, and again, it is for little children. I'm trying to think of the age, if I can see the age on this. I don't see an age range, but this is Scholastic. I bought this at a Scholastic book fair, like, again, when my son was a baby. So, a couple of things that I noticed when I read this. Because again, I wanted to get back into the word and do it slowly, so why not use a children's Bible? There was a good thing and a bad thing. I'm going to start with the bad thing first. The bad thing was, and by the way, I started this on Saturday of last week, and then I finished it on Sunday, because again, I'm going slow. And it's a lot of pictures and just short stories. So the bad news is I was kind of disappointed, because when I was reading the stories, I was like, you know what? This is not cutting it for me. It was great to read through it, and as I'm reading, realize I need more. So, and having grown up in the church, having grown up, knowing these Bible stories, again, raised in the church, I know these Bible stories, and I know there's more to them. What you may not know about me, what I haven't talked about, is that I have a degree in biblical studies. That is what my college degree is in. So I also do more in-depth Bible studies now. So side note, that's what that side note is. So I was like, I need more. I need more to these stories. I need more in depth. Yes, it was great to get started, but the good news is, well, the bad news is I wanted more. So I was kind of disappointed. The good news that goes back on the bad news is that I I knew what I was missing, because I could go back as I was reading these stories and I was like, well, I know how the story goes. I know the more in-depth details that goes with it. And that gave me comfort, because I remembered, and I could recall the passages from the Bible and what they went through. So again, there's my pros and my cons. I was actually very excited about reminding myself the fact I know the Bible, I know the stories. I knew that there was more to what these held. Am I perfect in my Bible knowledge? Absolutely not. We should always, always, always be a student of the Bible. So that was my experience using the Children's Read Aloud Bible. The second thing I talked about was using the Healthy and the Hustle as kind of like a journal to get me started. I actually did not start this until today. And the reason being, I wanted to do more reading the children's Bible and then just kind of see where that took me. So I actually started this today, and I'm going to come back to this. This is my prayer journal. And can I just tell you, it was so good to get back into this. This is one of those things that I'm very much a journaler when it comes to praying. And I like writing down my prayers. I like writing down verses that go along with these prayers. And in fact, some of the verses that were mentioned in the comments on my Spiritual Burnout video, I made sure I wrote them in here, highlighted them, and made notes about how they were working in my life and what God was using them for. So there's that. And then what I have nothing to show you, but as I was driving back and forth to work, I used that time to pray. And there was one specific day where I just prayed out loud in my car on my way to work. You know, I have like a 15-20 minute drive to work, so it's not very long. And of course, I always have Christian music on. I listen to a Christian radio station, so I always have it on. But I took this day to pray. And then another day when I was at work, I had finished all my work for the day. And I was like, okay, Lord, so I have a couple Bibles that I keep at work, and I take my journal with me. So I took some time and I was just writing in my prayer journal, praying. And then I was looking up some verses. And as I was looking up some verses, one of the things that I came to realize, and hold on, I'm gonna have to put my glasses on because I want to read you this part in my prayer journal. I realized that I wasn't very disciplined. So if I'm not disciplined in one area of my life, can I be disciplined in other areas of my life? Which brings me back to the Healthy and the Hustle. So I need to focus on the spiritual disciplines. So I was like crazy, like a mad woman, looking up spiritual disciplines. And I have a book and a study guide for spiritual disciplines of the Christian life by Donald Whitney. And then I started looking up YouTube videos, of course, so I could listen to him speak upon these things. And then of course I came across other videos about the spiritual disciplines. So that's one thing I'm going to be working on, is my spiritual disciplines. But how, when you're disciplined in one area of your life, you have a tendency to start becoming more disciplined in other areas of your life, which is absolutely what I need. So we're going to go there. So I was very excited about that. So then as I was going through that and listening, I started looking up verses about seeking God first. So there are some awesome websites out there, and I just looked up, what does the Bible say about seeking God first? And then I printed off, like, there's like 11 pages of verses about seeking God first. So what I did is I took these pages of references, and then in one of my Bibles at work, I went through and I started highlighting these verses. And these are verses that I'm going to be focusing on as far as when I'm in my Bible seeking God first. And I'm going to be highlighting, making notes, and really trying to work into these verses and studying these verses. And then there was another article I pulled up that's 10 verses about putting God first. So these are very important because, again, I have not put God in his rightful place in my life, and that is at the top. He deserves very much the top tier of my life. I should give him everything, and then everything else is going to fall into line underneath that. So that is how week 1 has gone. I've started slow, but it has been awesome because as I have started and getting into these things, like that thirst and that hunger is coming back for more. I said in my last video about spiritual burnout, if I ever got to that point where I didn't crave the word of God, then there was a problem. I was there was obviously a problem. But as I started back, even slow, even small, it's coming back. Like I'm thirsting and I'm wanting more, which was why using this was such a big deal, because again, I was disappointed because it was a very light, brief overview and I wanted more. And then again, the positive side of it, I knew that there was more, having grown up in church and having studied and learned these stories as a child. So it led me to want more. And then I started digging in, I started praying, I started actually opening my Bible and reading more, and doing studies. And then I also got back into my quiet time yesterday for the first time, and we're not going to talk about how long, but actually doing my quiet time. So that's huge. And I'm super excited. So again, that's what I have done with this first week of trying to come out of this spiritual rut. And then I talked about this Healthy in the Hustle book, because I feel like this is where discipline in one area can affect disciplines in other areas of your life. So again, with my, I've gained a lot of my weight back that I had lost in a previous year or two. And I can just feel the bleh. I mean, you just feel bleh. So I knew that I wanted to work on that along with my trying to get back in the Word and get out of that spiritual rut. So again, Healthy in the Hustle, this is going to help me be disciplined, because let me just read you the verse that I wrote down. I started it this morning. So already it's kicking my tail, which is a good thing. So it is Colossians 1:10, and I used the CSB, the Christian Standard Bible version for this, and this is what it says: that you may walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work and growing in the knowledge of God. So there's a couple aspects to that verse, and this is just me gleaning off the surface. I may walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God. So those are the 4 things that I'm getting out of that verse. This is surface level as I'm reading it. I have not done an in-depth study on that verse. Again, this is surface level. So walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work, and growing in the knowledge of God. So this whole first week in this study is going to be about walking. Great kind of thing. I need to walk worthy of the Lord. And as I'm working on my health, I have a treadmill, which is actually right behind the camera that I'm filming on. So I need to walk worthy of the Lord, and I'm going to walk in my trying to work on my health situation. So again, you have the before you start your day, and then you also have an end of the day page to work on. So today's day 1 for me. This is Saturday, day 1. So we're going to see how I do at next week's check-in, because again, I plan on doing check-ins with you guys. You guys can definitely help keep me accountable. So know that if you are going through spiritual burnout, you are not alone. We let pride get in the way of talking about this. We want to be fine. We want to be okay. We want to have it all together, and we don't. People are going through stuff. You may not know what their stuff is. It may be an issue of pride that we don't talk about it. I don't know. Everybody has a different reason. I always say everybody has a story. Everybody's story is different. Part of your story may be that you're walking through a spiritual rut right now. Hey, guess what? You and me both. We're in this together. And in fact, my friend that texted me, she is also going to get the Healthy and the Hustle book that I just talked about. And hopefully I need to text her or call her back and see if we can walk through it together. Again, accountability is important. Having somebody I can talk to, be real with, be honest with, somebody that can hold me to the fire. And if I am not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, they will hold me accountable and say, you know what, you've got to get it back together. And then if I'm in such a place where I'm on the struggle bus for real, they will help me walk through that struggle. And do life with me. And I think that's what part of being the family of God is about. Being a Christian, having my brothers and sisters in Christ hold me accountable and walk through life with me as I'm going through these things. So, you're not alone. In fact, actually, after I posted that video of being in the spiritual rut, I actually started coming across more videos of other YouTubers that I was like, wow, they really got it together, yet they had also gone through a spiritual rut. And a lot of that was because of life changes. We don't think about how changes in our routines and our daily life and daily walks can really affect us in our spiritual walk, but it can. So my kids start school next week, which means there's going to be life changes coming. So I need to, again, continue working on the discipline of doing this daily. And not only that, as church is gearing back up, I am still going to teach my Wednesday night group. So I do need to start working on that. And I'm excited because we are going to be doing a book on spiritual warfare. So I'm pretty excited about that. Because again, I also feel like being in a rut, I let Satan use his tactics to hold me back, and that's a problem. I know who the real enemy is, and I need to work on using the tools that I have to defeat him. So anyway, guys, I know this was a longer video, a little bit more chatty than the last one, I think. Not 100% sure yet. I haven't looked at the time, but I do just want to say you are not alone if you are in a spiritual rut. Be real, be open, and be honest. Let people know if you are struggling. People that you trust, people that are at a place where they are grounded in their walk and they can help you. They can walk through this with you. Start small. And that was the advice of one of the comments on my previous video. Start small. Use the children's Bible. See where it takes you. I just told you where it took me, and I know that it was kind of like a crazy, haphazard, rando conversation video that was going in a million different directions, but start small and see what happens. See if when you start small, if it kind of feeds that hunger and that thirst and that craving for more. It's okay. It's okay to be there, but it's not okay to stay there. Okay. It is not okay to stay in your spiritual rut. You've got to get out of it. And it's hard sometimes, and it's going to be harder for others depending on what you're going through and what your story is. But again, find that accountability. I also want to say this, friends who will hold you accountable, and stay in church too. Like, if you are not part of a Bible believing church and fellowship, we need that fellowship. We've got to have it. God even told us in Hebrews that not to forsake the gathering together. So we need that. Just a couple other random thoughts that I just had. But anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you were in the same place that I am right now, comment below. Where are you at? Are you in a spiritual rut? Yes or no? And what are you doing to get out of it? I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. I've got 2 different playlists. One is all about my faith, and the other one is about my 31 business. So anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and you will see more videos. And a week from today, we will have video number 2, week number 2 of coming out of the spiritual rut. And we're going to see what happens this next week, how I do with the Healthy and the Hustle book, and where else God takes me in my walk this next week. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Love you guys. Bye-bye.